Hi everyone and welcome, this is the Apostate Prophet. Last week I talked about how the Quran contains a very obvious mistake in identifying the beliefs of Jews. Today I want to go on with that and talk about another sign of ignorance found in the Quran. This time it concerns the beliefs of Christians. If you read the Quran, the author was clearly not an expert in theology, even though the author is supposed to be almighty, all-knowing, perfect Allah, who also claims to be the same God of the Bible. The topic that Allah got wrong this time is the Christian doctrine of the Trinity, which is not even a hard thing to grasp. The vast majority of Christians believe in the Trinity, and the vast majority of Christians believed so when Muhammad was around. There are also some Christians that don't follow the doctrine of the Trinity, but even among them, the concept of God is basically the same. Christian viewers probably know all of this already. Let me briefly explain it for everyone else. According to the Trinity, there is one God. God is one being, but God with his one being is also present in two other persons, namely Jesus Christ, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. It's easy to confuse us at first, but thinking further, it's quite understandable. Let me use this to explain it better. You see, God is one God, one single supernatural being, but God takes three bodies and exists in all of them. The Father is God, but God is also Jesus, and God is also the Holy Spirit, even though physically the three are separate persons. That's why this graphic says both that the three are each other, but also that they are not each other. In their nature, they are one God. Apart from that, there are also non-Trinitarian Christians who believe that Jesus became only divine after he was born, and similar beliefs. They are a small minority among Christians. Let's not even get into that because it's completely irrelevant. Islam rejects the whole idea of the Trinity and considers it blasphemy and disbelief. The Quran makes that very clear. You don't have to believe in it in order to understand it. I don't believe in it, but I understand it. Allah and Muhammad apparently did not understand it. They didn't even get the three names right. Let's see what the Quran says. And beware the day when Allah will say, O Jesus, son of Mary, did you say to the people, take me and my mother as deities beside Allah? Chapter 5, verse 116. In chapter 5, verse 75, it says, the Messiah, son of Mary, was not but a messenger. Other messengers have passed on before him, and his mother was a supporter of truth. They both used to eat food. Look how we make clear to them the signs, then look how they are deluded. It's weird that the Quran points out that Mary and Jesus both used to eat food, which indicates that they are not gods. But how the hell did the Quran bring Mary into this? Mary is the woman who gave birth to Jesus. According to both Christian and Islamic belief, Mary became pregnant by a divine intervention without a human father and without sexual intercourse. Her pregnancy was given to her by the Holy Spirit. Therefore, Jesus' birth is also called virgin birth. Mary was Jesus' mother, and Christians don't believe that she was God or part of the Trinity. The Trinity is a doctrine that was officially declared to be the Christian belief long before Muhammad. It wouldn't even make sense to found a new form of Trinity that sees the Father, the Son, and Mary as God or gods. Also, the belief in the Holy Spirit is manifested in the Bible. Why would a Christian come and remove that and replace it with Mary? Why would a Christian go against his own beliefs? Now, apologists nowadays have, as usual, a collection of defenses for this Quran verse. Some say it was only about a specific sect of Christians. And as in my former video with Ezra, in this case there is again no evidence at all that a Christian sect ever existed that worshipped Mary or saw her as a part of the Trinity. There is a hypothesis of an early Christian heretic sect called Coleridianism that existed in Arabia in the 4th century, but there is no further proof that such a sect ever existed, and even if so, it's extremely unlikely that such a sect would survive until the 7th century, or that they would have any significance. Also, the Quran usually speaks of some among Christians when it refers to specific groups, but it doesn't do so in this case. It talks very clearly of Christians collectively. It says, did you say to the people, take me and my mother as deities besides Allah? Early Islamic scholars such as As-Suddi or Ibn Kathir also make it clear in their exegesis that the Quran refers in these verses to the Christian belief in the Father, the Mother, and the Son. a belief that never existed. Other apologists say that the Quran talks only about Mary because some Christians venerate Mary to such an extent that they almost worship her. But the Quran verse clearly talks of taking Mary as a deity, literally. In such a case, the Quran is extremely poorly worded, even though it claims the opposite. Other apologists say that Catholics, for example, commit acts like asking Mary for help, and that doing so is equal to worshipping her. But again, that's very far-fetched. Why would the Quran say it in such a way? No Christian believes in worshipping Mary. Why does the Quran teach Christians not to do something that they don't do? Also, according to the Quran and multiple hadith, Muhammad will intercede for Muslims on the Day of Judgment, so many Muslims around the world ask Muhammad for help in their prayers. Does that mean they worship Muhammad? Same logic. What about the black stone at the corner of the Kaaba? Muslims kiss it, touch it, and give their attention to it during their pilgrimage, because Muhammad did so too, and because Muhammad told Muslims that the black stone will speak on the Day of Judgment and testify for those who paid respect to it. Does this mean that Muslims worship the black stone? Same logic. As you can logically conclude, the author of the Quran had no idea what he was talking about, and further inspection only proves that point. In chapter 5, verse 73, it says they are unbelievers who say God is the third of three, but Christians vastly don't hold such a belief. The Trinity teaches, as explained, that God is one. Only misunderstanding the Trinity would lead you to understand it as polytheism. If the author of the Quran understood the Trinity, he would have certainly not described it as the third of three, which is a weird thing to say. In another verse in the Quran, it repeats the same notion and says Allah is but one God. Muhammad apparently confused something here and didn't even understand the concept of the Trinity, nor who is part of it. Maybe there were such Christians in Arabia at his time, because Arabia was a well-known wicked region full of heretics and weirdos. But why would Almighty Allah speak to those little sects in Arabia only, when the majority of Christians don't hold such beliefs? Well, he does talk to all Christians, he just doesn't have any idea what they believe in. There is again no reasonable explanation of this Quran verse, and interpretations by Islamic scholars only prove my point, although a regular Muslim would tell me to go and ask a scholar about this. The Quran in this regard only makes sense if we twist its words and understand it in a completely different way than it reads. I'm talking of changing the meaning of the Quran, something that Muslims ironically accuse critics of Islam of all the time. And the same thing is done over and over again in my last video about Ezra. Critics of Islam don't change the meaning of the Quran. They just read it exactly the way it is. The problem is that apologists of the Quran are too afraid to read it the way it is. Now tell me, how can Allah be an almighty, all-knowing God and the God of the Bible if he makes such huge mistakes about the Bible, Christians, Jews, and their beliefs? You should come to the same conclusion that I have come to. The Quran is not the word of some almighty, all-knowing Allah. It is the word of an ignorant merchant in Arabia, who wasn't even fully familiar with the beliefs of people, but he plagiarized them in order to make his own his own political system stronger. There it is, another mistake and another reason not to believe in Allah or Muhammad. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, don't forget to like, to subscribe, and to share. My videos are not monetized, so you can watch everything without any interruptions. If you want to support my cause, you can do so on Patreon. I appreciate every kind of support very, very much, and I will try to give back in the best ways possible. Thank you. Have a good day and stay away from Islam.